Hi everyone, and welcome to the EcoInvestment update for November 6, 2016. Well, it looks like some of my suspicions about a weakening market trend have been confirmed here over the last 9 trading days. In particular, as you guys remember, in mid-September, I started feeling a little uneasy about the market. I removed myself basically from the market, except maybe a 5% position. And we've seen some things that are kind of worrisome take place since then. We've had for the first time, I don't even, way back in history, we've had 9 days in the market where the market's been down. The stock market, and I know we were on 8 days, was the longest stretch since 2009, I believe, so that's a little worrisome. And we've had interest rates start to drop back a little bit. We were up above 1.84, 1.86 on the 10-year, and I think we're back around 1.78, something like that. And interestingly, in a matter of 5 or 6 trading days, crude oil, West Texas Intermediate crude oil, gave up the last 7 months of gains in 6 or 7 trading days. We're back down around $43, $44 a barrel. And the realization's starting to hit OPEC and countries around the world that oil prices down may be here to stay for quite a long time. You know, we've had this buildup of solar and alternative energies, and that stuff is really starting to bite hard in the demand for oil. And of course, we saw fracking brought oil out in record quantities and boosted the United States up to one of the mega producers in the world. So the bottom line and takeaway from all of that is, don't assume just because something is, it will always be. And the stories about we will run out of oil and we'll have $300 a barrel oil and blah, blah, blah. Free markets don't work that way, and the free hands of the economy don't work that way either. Never underestimate human ingenuity, and that's the bottom line, to create workarounds. And that's when we have our greatest innovations, when human nature is under stress. Remember what I told you about? Many of the greatest businesses enduring today were founded and experienced their strongest base building in the 1930s in the depths of the Great Depression. Now, moving on to the market here, I want to talk about why the market may be weakening, because there's 2 different theories at work here. Number one, you remember my operating thesis for a long time, years in the market, was that only rising interest rates can puncture a bull market. And I believed that for a very long period of time. And then when things started to look like they were hitting a bit of a weakening trend back in September, I had to start thinking to myself, gee, we're not moving forward here. Is it possible that we've crested? And I finally came to the conclusion that we probably did. So the reason is why. Why was my operating thesis upset? Rising interest rates didn't rise that much, maybe up to 1.82, 1.83%. No threat to dividend-paying stocks, the S&P 500 yield. The reality, and this is the first possibility why we're weakening, is that the range of what I call risk narrowed dramatically here, meaning in normal economic times with normal interest rates and a normal Federal Reserve, it would take quite a series of interest rate rises, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 rises, before it would start to reach a point that it might affect the stock market and possibly even precipitate a crash, okay? But suppose we've had interest rates go along for 8 years and they've basically been at the same level for 8 years. Low, low, low. Imagine how much changes in business and how much is built on those low interest rates. And it's like an orchid being raised in a hothouse. Its zone of tolerance is very tiny. And I'm thinking now, perhaps the economy's zone of tolerance for anything except the lowest of the low-level interest rates could be what's affecting the market now. Like a chill has been let into the market because somebody opened the door to the hothouse. Now, part B is a lot more interesting, and it ties a lot of things together with prepping. It also ties things together with unprecedented times in our nation. We have unprecedented action by the Federal Reserve. We have an election that's basically causing mayhem and tiredness in this country. Now, imagine this. Imagine come Tuesday, election day, that neither candidate, Hillary's done enough damage to her campaign in the last week and a half, that neither one of the candidates running for president secures enough electoral votes to win the presidency of the United States. Now imagine that kind of scenario. It's almost unheard of for us in this country because we generally have victories that are a little wider margin in the Electoral College. But imagine if we came in with a very split Electoral College. Well, my friends, your homework assignment for this week is to find out what the Constitution of the United States says what happens when you don't get enough electoral votes to win the election for the presidency. Yeah, your assignment is to look into what interesting feature the United States Constitution provisions for taking care of the establishment of the next president of the United States if the Electoral College fails to provide a clear margin for victory for the president. Could this be what's kind of underlying the seismic activity here in the market there? Fasten your seatbelts. Stay tuned. It's always a very interesting ride. You've seen gold and silver tick up. You've seen the dollar weaken a little bit in here. And I tell you, it could be a very wild ride over the next couple of weeks. We've seen retailing start to weaken dramatically. We've seen the drug sector weakening. We've seen the healthcare sector weaken dramatically here. The Anthems, the Aetnas, all starting to show significant weakness here. Change is afoot, my friends. Stay tuned, stay sharp, and stay alert. I'll see you in a week or two. Thanks for watching.